Alright, what's up, positive people? You got Dana here, and it's been a really long time since I sat and talked current events with y'all. I really want to expand on this and do more things within that format. Like I said, my origins on YouTube were reviewing, were commentary, and along the way, I just felt more comfortable just being myself on camera. What's been really nice about being myself on camera for this long has been that I'm a lot more comfortable with who I am overall as a person. I think also too that has a lot to do with the fact that like I started doing this around like 23, 24 when I was still figuring myself out, and I have myself a little more figured out now. But anyway, I wanted to get into a couple topics with y'all. The first thing that I want to talk about is I just actually finished watching an interview with Unwind with Tasha K and Kevin Samuels. And a big part of the reason that I wanted to go and watch the interview was I love Tasha K. I respect the fact that she has this huge platform. I love the fact she's a natural Black woman, and I don't agree with everything that she says, but she's always struck me as pretty level-headed. So obviously I went into watching that interview with the mind of thinking that Kevin was this like extreme misogynist who was literally getting off on disrespecting Black women on his platform. And I left the interview, or rather I left watching the interview with just a better understanding of who he is and how he's trying to market himself online. And he brought up so many really good points. Well, him and Tasha brought up a lot of really awesome points. The main thing being that, you know, we as Black people, you know, we're cultural gatekeepers. Not only that, we're huge consumers, and oftentimes the way to market to us isn't always to our benefit. It's often to our detriment. And the things that are highlighted about us on social media are so indicative of that. So for example, Kevin Samuels' platform isn't just for shitting on, you know, low value Black men or low value Black women, which is another conversation too. I'd love to get in on my thoughts on this whole high value, low value system. But, you know, he mentioned on the interview that his platform, in particular his Facebook group, got a couple engaged, and that more than anything else, the conversations that he's having on his platform are honestly hard and honest looks at what people are doing right versus what people are doing wrong, depending on their situation and what it is they want out of a relationship. So for example, a lot of the videos that do go viral for him are these kind of like caricature Black types. Like those are the ones that go viral. Like, and you know, oftentimes with YouTube and with having a platform and being Black, it is this real yin and yang type thing where it's like you got to dibble and dabble and like BS in order to push your deeper narrative if you have one, or your deeper ideology and philosophy if you have one. I'll be honest with you, I don't get the sense from Kevin that he's driven to, you know, build us up in the same way that like a Dr. Umar is, or these other people that at least their image is that they're, you know, they're trying to educate and like affirm certain things in the Black community. And I can understand why a personality type like Kevin's, who he mentioned in the interview having a background in corporate sales, it totally speaks to why he gives it up the way that he does. I don't necessarily respect the fact that online anyway, in the little excerpts that we do see of him, most of it is him shitting on Black women. But I am happy to know that the people that do take the time to actually listen to him are getting more out of his content than just that. And I also think that he's playing up to this role that's been created for him because it's getting him views and clicks. And that's really the bottom line at the end of the day. Any entrepreneur, regardless of how they're being viewed online, it all comes back down to clicks. So if you being canceled equals engagement on your platform, and it doesn't result in your deplatforming because the things that you're talking about aren't necessarily, you know, atrocities, then I'm all for it. Like, we have to have controversial people in the space in order for every sort of content creator to get ahead. So I don't necessarily agree with everything that he's peddling and pushing, but I am happy to know that there's more to his platform than just that. And I didn't come out of the interview being a Kevin Samuels convert. For example, I'm not going to be looking to him for like guidance. Like, I'm a single Black woman myself. I'm unwed, never been wed, teenage mother, all these things that, based on some of the rubrics that I've seen him use in viral clips, I would be considered low value. So for me, and then too, again, I would love to expound just on the whole high value, low value thing in a separate video. But I say all of that to say that, oh, hey, Kevin, some of the stuff that he said irked me, but I do believe that we need to have every single type of, every single kind of Black content creator out there. Obviously, we don't need to be doing to set ourselves back, but I don't feel like what he's doing is setting us back. I feel like there are things way worse than having tough conversations on a call-in show. You know what I'm saying? Like, our music is doing a lot more to hurt us than content creators having tough conversations, if you get what I'm saying. So I say all of that to say that if you want maybe a better idea of who he is, that's a great interview. Just to make your mind up. I don't believe you should define people just based on a couple clips. Like, I feel like if nothing else, if you have a strong opinion about him, at least make sure that your strong opinion is based on more than just a couple clips. And I at least left that interview going, nothing against that Black man. Especially, like I said, the last thing that I saw was like him going back and forth with Dr. Umar. And I felt the ways about it, because as eccentric as Dr. Umar is, I have a lot of respect for him, because people talked so much crap about him behind that school, but now he's got a building. And I feel that way about like my own life and how my personal growth has been very step by step, day by day building. So to see something come to fruition for somebody that's been in the making for so long, it's just, all I can do is big you up. You know what I'm saying? And if it takes you another 5 to build a building, so long as you stay the course, I'm all for it, right? So, yeah. Next topic is the Joe Budden podcast, or at least this current iteration, imploding, with Joe Budden firing Rory and Mal, which, I'll be honest with you, I totally saw coming, and I never saw them as being permanent fixtures when they first started. I never really saw it for them. Rory's knowledgeable, don't get me wrong. I think that because Joe mentioned it in his last little podcast when he was talking about the situation, how in their contracts, neither of them separately or together can start a podcast for the next year, which really smart, Joe. Oof. Anyway, I think Rory reminds me a lot of Sean Evans, you know, knows his stuff. He sounds like somebody that really does his research and is a real nerd for a lot of the stuff that they get into. And that's always good for the culture. I related to the situation a lot in that I had a situation when I was a lot younger that I fumbled. I was a part of what could have probably been a podcast at the time, and I got let go, not because I was lazy, but because I got into it with a notable interviewee. And for the longest time, I used to get down on myself about it. But, like I said, I have a genuine love for being in front of the camera and for making content. So thankfully, that never deterred me. I also think about the fact that I really want to pick that channel up and do something with it. So if this format catches steam, I'm probably going to move it over to my hip hop commentary channel. But anyway, back to Joe Budden. So he puts out this podcast where he talks about the situation with Rory and Mal. And to give you the long story short, these guys were given a platform that already existed. They were a part of a platform that was named after someone. They were on someone else's YouTube channel. It's not like they all came together and started something fresh. They were a part of a machine that was already moving, right? So this idea that Rory is coming to Joe, especially after their Spotify deal, and asking for ownership is, in my eyes, biting the hand that feeds you, especially when, again, you weren't there at inception. And if you weren't there at the genesis, what would make you think that you have a right to anything, especially when up until this point, nobody prior to you had had any success in that way? And not only that, you'd seen a history of there being a rotating cast of characters, right? Joe started the podcast with Rosenberg from High 97 and his homegirl, I forget her name, Maria Mendez, Nunez, something like that. Anyway, they were a part of like the genesis and the inception. His homegirl was let go behind some Drake stuff, depending on who's saying what. I don't know. I know Joe got rid of Rosenberg because he felt like he wasn't doing enough to get guests, which is understandable. You work at the radio station, give me some damn guests. After that, there were other people in the mix, whatever. Enter in Rory and Mal. You're employees. Whether you want to admit it or not, you're employees. And if y'all had issues and wanted to renegotiate the terms of your employment, that's one thing. But to ask for ownership on something that doesn't have your name on, it's like, really? And when he was talking, like the more that he was talking, and Joe does strike me as someone with like severe personality issues. Like I definitely get lone wolf energy from Joe. And I mean, like I said, he's had so many issues with so many different people. I'm not saying that he wasn't difficult to work with, but I also just go, y'all got rich off podcasting. You were working part-time podcasting. Why even rock the boat? And what was very interesting too, when Joe was talking about things that had transpired, was Rory came asking for ownership and Joe said, no, but instead you can take whatever footage and do with it what you want. I would have started a reaction channel. They had so much stuff going viral. It would have been nothing for you on your own personal platform to take the footage that you were going to be able to use, fair use or not. You had permission to use it. Take that footage and add your expert commentary to it. Like Rory is, really well versed. I don't understand why he couldn't just leave well enough alone and start the Rory World YouTube channel and use the JVP footage that Joe said he was perfectly fine with him using. It's just so weird to me. You weren't working full time, so it shouldn't have been an issue to just do that. And then as far as Mal's concerned, he was completely, unmotivated, unprepared a lot of the time, and not really adding much to the conversation. Joe had mentioned the fact that if Mal was smart, he would have maybe started something with fashion because he is a great dresser. It just speaks to all this untapped potential and this complacency on both of their parts. If I were in a situation where I was a part of a network that allowed for me to work for the network as well as have my own platform now at my age, more mature, I would definitely take that opportunity. Like I would love right now, especially where I'm at, where it's like I'm like a micro influencer and I really want to grow and I have stuff to say, but then I feel like I work oftentimes really well in this collaborative environment. It would be dope to get to be a part of a collective and then still have RainCityDana and the Envy Life to do other things with. Yeah, I didn't see that situation working out long term because it's very obvious that they forgot that they were employees, and the blurring of the lines with the friendship, I don't know if they thought, oh, because we're friends and because the Spotify deal came through, maybe we'll get more. Rory had the nerve, not to just cut, to go to a different topic, but Rory had the nerve to ask Joe about the AdSense money. Like, huh? What? That would be like let's say Puff turns 17, 18, coming to me talking about where's my cut of the AdSense? Like, boo, the channel is RainCityDana. Like, start your own. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't think that that's wrong, because also too, what you don't understand is the Joe Budden podcast wasn't the only content that's going up on that channel. At this point, it's a network. They have the Karen Civil and Ming Lee podcast. yeah, they've got other stuff going on. There's a whole network that they're trying to grow. It's really dope to watch. So yeah, they're out. Ice and Ish will probably be in, and hopefully they'll know their role and watch their mouths. So I don't agree with Joe Budden on a lot of things. I think that his hip hop ear sometimes is super off, but he was spot on with a lot of the things that he was saying in the podcast. Now, I don't know how true some of it was. I watched the Hot 97 reaction. Rosenberg mentioned that some stuff wasn't the truth, but you also have to realize that Rosenberg was one of the first people that Joe's fired. So I don't know if you just in your feelings because you were on the fire train too. But very, very interesting, considering, like, it's just, I feel like Roy and Mal both tried to call Joe's bluff, and he was like, nah, bruh, not today, not never. I will be just fine. And they have to realize he's been at this internet thing a long time. He will be just fine. Like, remember, it's the Joe Budden podcast. It's not the Joe, Rory, and Molly pod. Like, yeah, that ego thing is something else, man. I would have humbled myself and got my own thing started separate of Joe. Don't just show up for your check. Like, there's more out here. You know, there's just so much more out here. But anyway, I do wish those guys well when a year passes. We'll see if they're actually genuinely passionate about content creation, because they'll be able to start something. Who knows? Maybe because they've been terminated, they might be able to settle and get out of this whole non-compete clause sooner, but who knows? Next thing I want to talk about is Ellen DeGeneres. Yeah, I know now that she's a mean girl, because it's so funny to me how after all the stuff came out about different staffers having issues with, you know, sexual harassment from producers and higher ups, and then just the toxic work environment, how initially she tried to make it better by making her DJ an executive, one, and two, you know, doing that corny ass apology her first day back from COVID hiatus, only to now say that she's no longer challenged and, you know, she wants to end the show, is beyond me. I also go, you could have totally changed your format if it's about not being challenged. Literally, the show belongs to you. You are the first and final say. If you're not being challenged, I'm like, really? And to anybody who thinks that she's just gonna go sit down and not do anything, I could totally see her arranging for like a Netflix deal, or going to another network and maybe trying late night, or just trying something else, maybe going the Oprah route. Who knows, right? Because her reach, especially online, every single Ellen clip goes viral. Like, every single person that went on that show became stars. Like, so many people's careers were launched behind being on that show. I don't believe for a second that she is just going to pack it up. You know, that's sponsorship money, though. For that sort of reach, whew. Anyway, it's got to be hard to go that many years with this whole, you know, choose kindness thing as your brand. Like, people are gonna tear that apart. Like, I think to being disingenuous now, especially in cancel culture, which I would prefer at this point to call consequence culture, I think now being disingenuous, being somebody who once upon a time you were one way and then, you know, you cleansed yourself in your new way, you know, the chickens come to roost. You all have to atone. That is the way it is. Those are the breaks. And I think that people go, she's so damn successful, she's on her high horse and all this. You know, we need to knock her down a peg, especially because she was so insulated and didn't even have the time, the energy to just be human with her staff. Like, you employ all these people and you don't know who they are. They're in your, you know, they're in your studio and you just don't have time for them. Is like beyond me. As a boss, that's weird, you know? But I mean, a lot of people in the business are like that. Like, people have told stories about how Steve Harvey doesn't like eye contact from like PAs and staffers and underlings. It's just weird that celebrities get to a point where, yeah, I don't want you to breathe the same air I'm breathing. stay the hell away from me. Don't talk to me. No, you can't have an autograph. Get the hell out of my face. Which, again, I understand professionalism and decorum in a workplace, but I also go, you're my boss. I should be able to talk to you. It's really not that deep. You know what I'm saying? You don't fucking pee Cristal, like, calm down, you know? So, yeah, I'm sure that Ellen will hang it up for daytime TV, and maybe we'll see her on a late night format or something else, since she claims she's not being challenged. Child, all these seasons now you talking about you ain't challenged, but whatever, go off. Next thing is music news. So J. Cole just dropped an album and a documentary. I will be reviewing that very soon. I just want to sit with the music and have something to say beyond an initial impression. I'm a huge J. Cole fan. I respect the fact that he really took the time to craft something that he could be proud of, especially considering the fact that this sounds like this might be his retirement album. That's at least the vibe that I got from his documentary. Like, I just feel like he kept making it seem like he said everything that he's had to say, which sucks because Forest Hills Drive like got me through so much. That album came out around the time that I had moved to Seattle. I didn't have a car at the time, so I would sit. I had the album on my like whatever Samsung phone I had at the time, and I would bump it on the way to. I was working part-time at Macy's in the Northgate Mall when Northgate Mall was still open. I worked part-time in their maternity department, and I would play that album, and it got me through. Okay. And I in my mind, I went, I know that, you know, there's more to life than this, and this is just a transitional thing, and everything's going to be fine, and I'm going to make a way. And I did. And things got better, and they're continuing to get better. And I say all of that to say that his music has been instrumental in getting me through. And I know that, especially where I'm at now, doing a bit better, I would love to see how those themes now, I would love to see how I relate to the themes now in his album, especially because he is doing great in life. Also, shouts out to him going and playing for the Rwandan basketball team. Realizing dreams, especially too when you're older, is so much sweeter, because I know for a lot of people, the basketball thing, you go, well, he's too old to be balling. Says who? Not if he can condition, not if he can train, not if he can find a team that'll take him. So I think that's so dope. Like, don't give up on your dreams. You want to go sing, go be a singer. You want to do YouTube. You want to go back to school. Like, just live your life. It's a beautiful thing. On the flip side of that, Nicki Minaj technically has new music out. The 12th anniversary of the Beam Me Up Scotty mixtape came out. Love that mixtape. It came out, 12 years ago. So I would have been 19, 20 in the A, honey, just had my baby. Was probably in my 2000 Plymouth Neon at the time. Bumping it in a 6 CD changer because I got it off like Live Mixtapes or that Piff or something like that. Like, I'm trying to put myself back in, 12 years ago would have been 2009, right? Yes, that would have been. Okay, yeah, I got the dates right. Anyway, it's re-released. Dope that it's on streaming platforms. More people can see what made a lot of us fall in love with Nicki in the first place. That's definitely the mixtape that I listened to when I started becoming a fan. I don't call myself a Barb, but I do. I'm a baby Barb. Let's put it like that. Like, I'm not gonna be in freaking people's comment sections going ham for Nicki, but I know enough lyrics that I can say that I am a fanny stan. Now, she is working on an album. She did do a live. And, you know, beyond announcing that Beam Me Up Scotty's on streaming platforms, she also made mention of some additional songs that she added, things that were remixed. Am I crazy about repackaged music? No, but she does do this. Like, this isn't the first time that she's repackaged music and like added things. I'm more excited about the next album. Because she's a new mom, I'm very curious about this, you know, what sort of growth we're going to see, if any, as far as like subject matter is concerned, or how more introspective she'll be as a result of her son, or if even if we'll get a Nicki that's like just way, way, way more lyrical. Although I will say she was hella lyrical on Queen, so it's not like we haven't gotten that recently. But I would just love to get an album from a female rap artist where it's just very lyric centric, very lyric heavy. I feel like you can be sexy, you can be this image while also giving us bars. And I mean, she can really rap, so that's all I really want from her. I'm gonna be listening to both of these projects over the weekend. Obviously, I'm gonna be getting nostalgic with the Nicki mixtape, and then taking in and vibing out to the new J. Cole album. Yeah. I say all of that to say that I want to try and do these once a week. Bear with me. Obviously, I need to figure out sound. I need to figure out my camera. I'm recording this right now on my iPhone, and then I have my Rode mic attached to it because, child, we know the microphone on my iPhone is garbage. And if I don't connect it to a microphone, we know how bad sound has been and how that narrative has been a thing on this channel. It's probably a big part of the reason why the channel ain't grown, because, child, anyway, I'm working on it. I'm getting it together, okay? I don't want to buy a bunch of dumb stuff. Like, there's a part of me that's like, get a Yeti mic. There's a part of me that's like, trade in my camera for something else. There's a part of me that's like, get a tripod. Like, I just don't know what to do in order to make the setup better, but I'm figuring it out. So just bear with me. If you have suggestions for that, leave it down in the comment section below. Please let me know if you're cool with how long this was. I would love to maybe get it to an hour because, like I said, a podcast, a commentary style thing really appeals to me. Like I said, that's my roots. That's where everything started. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please let me know by leaving a like. I don't know, put some stars in the comment section if you don't have anything to add, just for engagement. And till tomorrow, because we are vlogging daily in May. Peace, positive people.